Hello and welcome back to the Drive Back YouTube channel. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Adrian.
And today we're here to do a quick video review for Prey. It's only fitting that we do a video review for this because we did an episode of the podcast on all the other Predator movies. And we said
recently.
Yeah, and we said we would do this one. So, this is going to be the newest movie in the Predator franchise. I actually should have probably pulled up information about the movie before I decided to start recording.
It came out yesterday.
It came out
2022.
It came out in 2022, actually today. It is the origin story of the Predator in the world of the Comanche Nation 300 years ago. Naru, a skilled female warrior, fights to protect her tribe against one of the first highly evolved predators to land on Earth. That is pretty accurate, gotta say. That she is in fact defending herself and her tribe. This movie is available to watch on Hulu. It is a Hulu exclusive, a Hulu original movie, so if you're going to watch it, it is on there. So if you're subscribed, go ahead and check it out if you're interested. Because let's go ahead and drop quick spoiler-free thoughts before we dive into some more of the spoilers. Adrian, you and I both just finished this movie in the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, it was actually super funny. I gave Garrett a call to ask if he wanted to hop on the mic and talk about it, and he was like, I just finished, and it had been like 5 minutes since I had finished. So we were probably watching it at very similar times. Like, we were probably experiencing it very similarly.
That is, it's so weird, but it's so true. Like, not even 5 minutes after he called me saying he finished, I had finished. So,
wow.
But what did
She
you think? Spoiler free, and I'm loving watching your cat go for the door handle.
Yeah, Maple. That's Maple. Everyone watching. She has recently found her meow, so we're very proud of her for that. But she is locked in here because we have to collect a sample for her to go to the vet. But
Oh, gotcha.
she wants out real bad. Her sister's on the other side of the door, meowing back.
Oh, gotcha.
They are tied at the hip.
Well, especially being tied at the hip is a good lead-in because that's what that hatchet is with the tomahawk.
Yeah, spoiler-free thoughts for this movie. All my cats aside, I thought that it was super engaging. I think the change of setting for the Predator kind of like vibe was really, really refreshing. I really liked, this isn't really a spoiler because it kind of teases it, but the design of the Predator has changed every movie, just slightly, and this one was really wicked looking, and I really, really enjoyed that. And I like some of the technology stuff. Like, I always like Predator movies just for seeing the tech of Predator, right? Alien's a little more basic because their bodies are like the weapons, and that doesn't really change. But in this one, like, watching all the technology was super, super cool. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, I think this one is a fantastic addition to the Predator series because, and not to spoil my review too much, I think it's the best movie in the franchise. Mm-hmm. And I think that it does that because it takes a step away from the gruff guys in military suits and places it where everyone is, I mean, I'm not going to say everyone's on an equal playing field, but it's a little bit more level. At least compared to previous movies.
Absolutely, and I think it also takes that original concept of the men in the jungle, right? That's the reason you liked the movie Predators so much, of just putting people back in the jungle. And this one takes it, but it does that spin on it where they don't have the capabilities that us watching the film are used to having.
Mm-hmm.
They have spoiler free. I mean, it's tribes, so they have bone, arrows, axes, like very basic rudimentary weapons against something otherworldly, a predator.
Yeah.
And it just adds a ton of tension and a lot of really interesting what I would call like smart maneuvers in the battles, stuff that we don't think about. Like, normally you'd be watching the original Predator and you're like, well, they've still got guns and like that stuff, and it's like, well, shoot them. In this one, it's like they don't have that, so what do you do to attack? What do you do to win? And it's really, really exciting.
Yeah, it really, again, it doesn't level the playing field, but it makes the playing field much more interesting.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But let's go ahead and drop a spoiler warning. We are going to talk about spoilers from here on out for Prey. It sounds like we both say go watch it. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, in the franchise.
Also, just a good movie, I think. Even if like you haven't seen the franchise, I think it's just good.
No, yeah, I think if you're going to watch the series, you should start here. This is like the chronological like stepping point for everything.
Yeah,
they even tease Predator 2 in this, which is really interesting. But we'll get to that when we talk about spoilers.
Okay.
Speaking of which,
Sounds like I'll be getting that spoiled for me.
spoiler warning for Prey. So if you want to watch it, go watch it. Yeah, I think we both think this is really, really a good film. And I do want to highlight the best part of this movie is Amber Midthunder, who is our lead, Naru. I hate to sound like every single other review I've seen and every article I've ever seen, but if she doesn't get more work after this, I will be upset.
Yeah, I think she won me over. I was actually a little thrown off guard at first. I just didn't feel... I felt like she looked, I don't know how to... like, too modern of a girl in her outfit. It looked like a costume in the first couple scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that was, like, literally their like, initial shots, that they didn't have it dialed in on the costuming. But, yeah, like, very quickly she won me over. I was very skeptical, but the performance was really captivating and really, really interesting.
Yeah, she was fantastic. I think any kind of costuming concern is not really her department, but I think she really does make the most of it in this movie. Also, the training for the dog is with her. I think it's like Suli or something like that is the name.
Siri,
Sealy, something,
Suri,
something like that. The dog is adorable and is super well trained, which is awesome to see.
Well, it's a real hunting dog. Like,
yeah,
from back in the day. Yeah, they were that well trained historically.
Exactly. Yeah, and it really makes for some great moments during that final fight that really help solidify it. But we'll get there a little bit later. I think again, everyone like this is also a masterclass in how you can make a movie in a franchise that is established without hiring any big stars.
And turn it on its head at the same time.
Exactly.
I think this is a masterclass in that. I did want to touch on one thing that I really liked. I think this movie, out of all of them, highlights the best that the Predator only goes at, like, it wants to be the apex predator, so it hunts things that are apex predators. And it does not hunt prey, which is why the movie is called Prey. If you aren't a threat to the Predator, it has no desire to kill you. It has nothing to prove. And this movie illustrates that and uses it to its advantage, like, throughout the entire film. And it's really, really cool to see that theme just kind of sprinkled everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been a running theme of the franchise, but I think it's highlighted here very well because...
More so, I think the last time it was highlighted the largest was, like, Alien versus Predator. Like, even though that's uncanon, but that was, like, that whole backstory about, like, why they were attacking the apex predators of the aliens.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a little bit in the original movie when
kind of, yeah.
the hostage wasn't attacked because she didn't have anything. But it's really on display here. But I do want to talk about a couple little things that do stand out with this movie. It's primarily in some of the visual effects, and I think that there's a couple of shots where the Predator doesn't have its mask on. And the redesign looks interesting. I'm not going to say I'm 100% a fan of the redesign of the face underneath the mask. But it could be an earlier iteration of the Predators, as much as like in The Predator we saw that evolutionized version, the Super Predator. So this could have been like a proto Predator or something, like an earlier version of the race.
Which I would imagine it is. Yeah, at some level, I'd imagine they tried to go for that.
I think it's just a little bit of like a sticker shock after the first four movies having very, like, the changes in design were mostly the armor, and in this one it was like a huge facial change. But there's a couple.
The helmet was absolutely awesome.
Fantastic. Love the exposed jaw too.
Yeah,
that was great. But there's a couple shots where the face didn't quite look as good, and I think it was mostly towards the nighttime fight, the final fight. There's a couple shots where it didn't look as good. But then also I noticed a lot of the animals were all CG. The bear was CG.
The bear was for sure.
The wolf was CG.
The wolf was during the running part. I didn't feel like the wolf was CG, like when they just shot it in the plains.
I feel like whenever the animal was in danger or was killed, it was a CG animal. And
I was like, whenever an animal was in fast motion, it was CG.
That too, yeah. I think maybe they did use CG more than not. At least the animals are like, it's a little bit less noticeable than it is for, I would say, the Predator's face. But there really isn't that much visual effects in this movie.
No.
I mean, and again, it works. The Predator is practical a lot of the time.
And it keeps you in the movie. Like, even those little special effects like blips. I think I most noticed it with the bear and the wolf in those certain shots. But again, like, that's such a nitpicky thing because the movie, that's like maybe like 4 frames on screen. Like, it's so fast. Yeah. Those bad visual effects for me that I was like, oh, that was weird. And then the movie keeps going and it's great.
Yeah, I do want to amend what I said too. And like, it's not like they're long shots of a bad looking face. It's like 2 seconds. And it's clearly where maybe some of the money went towards something else for that particular shot. But which happens. I mean, I'm not faulting the movie in any way for it. It just does need to be pointed out. I also do think that one of the other reviews I had read that said this movie was lean and mean, meaning that it's like it's very violent, but it's also a shorter movie than we're typically used to seeing in the franchise. It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was quick. I actually I paused it to go to the restroom, and it was like almost over. And I was like, oh, wow.
Hey, whoa! Okay. I mean, you're engaged, you're hooked, which is a really good plus for the movie. I think it could have used an extra 10 minutes, though, and maybe they didn't have the money for the shot, but they do tease what they could have done during the credits. Which did you watch the entire like animated credits before it cut to the? Oh, okay, well then we'll. That's
Go ahead, it's spoilers. Go ahead.
So I guess we'll talk about it now. So the ending of this movie, obviously Naru kills the Predator. As always, the hero always kills the Predator because they're just
war chief.
Better. She becomes war chief, which is really cool. I kind of first I was like, oh, they're not gonna do that. Kind of like. It's stereotypical, like, oh, the person who, like, the past person died, so you're going to take over.
But I will say real quick, just to jump in, they did that in a lot of movies where the Predators, when they recognize game, they've given humans weapons and, like, honor and status in their culture.
Yeah.
It's happened in a couple of the different Predator movies where, like, they're recognized. So I think that, like, somebody should be recognized. It's always, like, they defeated an apex predator, so I thought it was okay.
I think
a little gimmicky, but I thought it was okay.
A little, like, not on the nose, but like, I don't want to say stereotypical, but like it happens in movies like this, and I was expecting it to happen, and then when it did happen, I was like, okay, yeah, actually, she approved it. But at the ending of this movie, she comes back, she drops the head off, they make her war chief, and it cuts to the credits. The credits, obviously, in animated style that mirrors, I would assume, is accurate Comanche style art, the events of the movie. And the credits kind of animation ends with her becoming war chief, and all the village turn around, and the sky is full of the lightning and clouds, and multiple ships descend toward the village. Now, in the art, not live action, which if this was that should have been included in the movie, because the gun that she gets, the flintlock pistol, is, I believe, the flintlock pistol the Predators give to Danny Glover in the second movie at the end.
Interesting. I don't remember the name on that flintlock pistol.
I'm going to have to check the trivia here real quick, because I still have Prey pulled up. I want to know for sure. It's literally the first thing. So at the end of Predator 2 in 1990, the remaining Predator gives Harrigan, Danny Glover, a pistol inscribed with Raphael Adolini 1715 on it. Raphael Adolini appears in Prey, and he's the one that gives the pistol to Naru. So
wow,
that is I knew it. That was the connection to
that's really cool.
Predator 2, which is weird that they connected it to one of the worst movies in the franchise. But a lot of people, like, I've been finding a lot of people have really nostalgic feelings for Predator 2, which I kind of get. It was probably when a lot of people were kids.
And I think it was one of those things where, like, that was the sequel to one of the biggest movies, so it's like there was a lot of hype. A lot of people probably saw it just because it was the big thing.
Yeah, and there were a lot of toys for it. I remember seeing the boxes and everything, so totally makes sense. But I think that they could have spent a little bit more money and shot that scene in live action. I think that would have been like really like a well done ending, because usually in the Predator movies, we see now the Predators recognizing skill, and they didn't do that. Which, again, I can't really fault the movie. It's just kind of like a would have been nice if type thing.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't see that, but I could definitely, I kind of like, I don't know, now that I'm hearing it though, I like that it was like for those paying attention, they get to see it, you know,
Yeah,
like you don't
because
just get the freebie Marvel post credit scene, like you got to kind of just pay attention a little more. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's cool. I didn't realize that.
you kind of also have to be like a fan too, like or not like well not a fan, but like you have to have seen Predator 2 and remember that that was the name on there, and then
Yeah, and I
connected the
didn't. Yeah.
dots, which is really hard to expect audiences to do, especially nowadays. But I do think that I don't think this is a problem. I think the movie was written just fine. I think that you're going to see a lot of people start to argue that this movie pushes a message in it, repeatedly saying that the female character can't do this, and she's like, "Oh, I can." And you're going to see a lot of internet trolls out there be like, "Oh, it's pushing a feminist agenda." It's stupid. Like, this
Yeah,
movie really works.
I mean, I think that the way you can dissuade that argument is it's not that they were saying she can't. They were giving her chances all the time
Yeah.
to hunt. She was given the chance to prove her final hunt against the lion. Unfortunately, she did keep failing to a certain extent, and so it's not like they were saying like don't. Even when she's talking to that lady in the beginning, she's saying there's so many other things you're good at. It's not that they didn't let her try hunting.
Yeah.
It's like it was just that, hey, maybe you're just not that good at it. So I think they took a good approach to that. But I could see how people that maybe don't read that far into it are like,
I also can
"That's
guarantee
not
the
it."
people that are going to argue that aren't going to watch the movie. Like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, it's just about this." You didn't even see it, did you?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
what it is most of the time, anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about everything in this movie because pretty much everything here works. I don't think Dan Trachtenberg has made a bad movie yet.
It's got great like the Revenant vibes at times in this movie.
Yeah.
With like just the survival in the wilderness, because it's all she's against the predator, she's also against nature. Like there's just it's kind of everything. The one part that I did find really really cheesy, which again I'm super nitpicking here. This movie's gonna get a great score from me. But the part where they're both tied up, her and her brother, and she's telling the story about the beaver, and then she says like, "I'm smarter than the beaver." I thought that was like a little cheesy.
I
and,
laughed
like,
though. I gotta admit, I laughed. Like,
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Because I wanted her to chop someone's hand. I wanted her to like sacrifice. I thought it was gonna be like, you got to do it. And then at that point I thought the movie was gonna go in the direction of she's going to maim herself so that it won't attack them, or that she was gonna chop her, or that she was gonna chop her brother's hand off so that it wouldn't kill him.
Yeah.
I thought there was like another play there because she was like, it's necessary, and I thought it was like, oh, it's necessary to keep you alive, kind of thing.
Yeah. So in that way, it's a little misdirect.
But then it was just a lame joke. So I was like, oh, like I had this real cool narrative going on in my head, and then it was like, oh, we're not
Like,
going to do that.
the part I think the part that made me laugh the most was when one of the trappers runs up with a pistol, and he's about to shoot the predator in the head, and the predator's just standing there, and then he fires, and the bolt immediately just ricochets back.
Yeah, that was fun. I love
That whole
all those kills in
Yeah.
that scene were incredible.
Some of the best kills in the Predator franchise that you see on screen.
The shield one into the tree
Yeah.
was insane. From the hand, like chopped his shoulders off and stuff.
Yeah, it was a little on the nose though, because the Predator stood there for a second, and was like, "Oh damn, I just did that," and then walked
Yeah.
away. And I was like, you could have skipped that.
But I'll tell you, Cass was working, and even that was like the one time in the movie where she went, "Oh my!" Like, it was a crazy kill. The other part I liked is that they definitely had her and everybody learn about the Predator at a realistic pace. I don't feel like anybody knew all these details. Like there were no plot conveniences, I don't think. Like when they found out that it could only sense heat, there was no technology to detect that. They discovered it a very similar way that Arnold Schwarzenegger did in the first one.
Yeah.
She gave someone blood-chilling medicine to actually heal him, and then realizes that the Predator can't see him.
Yeah.
And it just all like it makes sense. Like it just nothing felt like handed on a silver platter. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, not a single thing was just given away. Like
Yeah.
they showed how she learned everything. The only thing I think I also kind of have to nitpick is, first off, I love how the Predator does not have any energy weapons, except for like the mine thing that it uses.
Yeah, And they don't even really show that, actually.
But it doesn't use the shoulder-mounted laser. It uses like a wrist crossbow instead, which is awesome.
Because it's an earlier iteration.
But the laser targeting thing, the first time you see it, the beams split up. Right? It never does that again. Like
maybe they decided that's too flashy.
They're like, oh, it's really cool. We'll leave it in the movie, but I don't know what's going on.
No, the Predator race decided that was like running all recruit in Siege. It's just a bit too much of a flex, and they just had to cut it out.
Gonna have to tone it down. We're hammering him a little too hard. But I don't really have anything else to mention about this movie. I think it's fantastic. If you have Hulu, I think it's a must-watch.
I agree. I think it's a must-watch. I think it's a great way to head into fall here for this film run that we're getting. I'm super excited about it.
My only other complaint is that the studios didn't think that this would be a good theatrical release.
Yeah, I think it absolutely would have been.
It would have killed it, and everyone I'm seeing online is saying the same thing. But they also, Fox was saying that, it makes sense to put it on, like, they want to show that streaming can have the same quality as theaters, which we knew that already. We know that it has quality.
Though. I could see that logic, trying to be like, our studio holds up to theater kind of thing. I could see it.
It kind of reads off, though, as in like previous movies have, where it's like, okay, well, it stars a female main actor, and it's a cast that's primarily non-white. So we're going to put it on streaming instead, which is super unfortunate.
Yeah, I could see both of that. That's also tough.
But
I did want to talk real quick about my favorite scene, which is the end fight. The dog and all that was really cool, but I love the setup of the mask being set up behind the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
And they show you earlier, without drawing too much attention, that the bolt follows wherever the laser is pointing, no matter what. Even if they're right in front of you, it flies another direction. And so she sets up this amazing trap, just like in the first movie. Like, it felt so satisfying to see it come to fruition, that it was awesome. It was such a cool moment when it works.
Also, the really early setup for the mud pit.
Wait, yeah, that you would never think it's even coming back.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is just cool to see how she's resourceful, and no, it's a setup that she brings it back there for the trap.
Yeah, this movie did a great job of like laying the groundwork without avid moviegoers being like, oh, this is the final battlefield. Like, it didn't do that. It was very subtle, and it was very rewarding when it actually showed you what was happening. It was great.
Yeah, I honestly thought the fight with her brother, I'm assuming it's her brother.
The main guy is her brother, yeah.
Yeah, between them two and the Predator in the camp, I thought that was going to be the last fight, and the brother would have fallen, she would have been victorious and brought, something at his back, but no. Like, they kept it going, and I was like, whoa, okay, they didn't set up
He also went nuts in that fight against the Predator.
Oh, yeah, dude, like, holy crap.
And what a flex before the Predator kills you to go, it considers me the threat. Like, what an insane flex.
That's what I'm going to use from now on when we're playing any sort of video game and people are coming after me. Like, they consider me the threat. Yeah. Just a flex on you.
It was so sick, though. And then when they first said the whole thing of, like, this is as far as you go, this is it, no more. At first I was like, oh, that's kind of like a cheesy line. But then by the end, when they were saying it, it did feel really good. Like when the brother was like, you have to tell it, this is it, like, no more. And then she says it at the end, and it's a great line. It was really well done. Yeah, that's just gushing over the movie, but it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, also a callback to the original, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah, that was a cool little moment.
Which, I mean, it feels a little bit like, oh, it's Predator, that's why it's in there. But also, like, they would say that, I feel.
And I think because they're both hunters, like, it makes sense. That's how they think all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that's their logic. So, it was great.
One thing I do want to recommend, though, before we close off, is there are 2 audio tracks for this movie. You can watch it in English, or you can watch it in the Comanche language. And I might go back and rewatch it in Comanche, because I think that sounds incredible.
With no subtitles would be wild.
It'd be a lot more realistic, I can tell you that.
I know, but that probably makes it feel like a really grounded film.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, with you not being able to understand it. Wow.
So,
might have to go do that.
But let's go ahead and give our final thoughts and scores before we head out for this video. Adrian, what you think?
Yeah, best in the franchise. Definitely well worth the Hulu subscription or the free trial. Even heck, like if you just want to do that 7-day, remember to cancel it if you don't want it. But it's definitely worth risking that $7 or whatever it is for that free trial. And go ahead and watch it. Yeah, I think it's super, super good. I gave this movie a 92.
92. Alrighty. I 100% agree. Well, I can't speak apparently. This
100% agree.
Don't make fun of me. I think this movie is fantastic. It's a great reason to have Hulu if you have it already. I mean, and come on, you can get the Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus bundle deal for a better price. You should have it anyway. Just don't watch ESPN Plus. It's pointless. Sports suck. Now you'll have Disney Plus and Hulu for a lot better. But the movie's fantastic. Amber Midthunder proves that she has star potential. I really want to see her in a lot more. I think she may have. I mean, this movie is action heavy, and she does prove herself that way. But I would like to see her do a little bit more, maybe dramatically. Would be a lot to see her in. I would love to see that. But as a whole, I think the movie is very strong. Dan Trachtenberg proves that he is a director to watch and not to underestimate. I mean, 10 Cloverfield Lane, this, and I don't remember what else he did at this time of recording. Actually, I want to be sure of that. I think he did he did 10 Cloverfield Lane. I know that. This is going to be fun. Looks like he did direct part of The Boys. Wow, yeah, his first movie was 10 Cloverfield Lane, and he actually did a short film for Portal. That's kind of interesting. But
I think I've seen that actually.
But yeah, super awesome movie. I ended up giving Prey a 90.
Nice.
Best in the franchise, hands down. And
I was gonna say I could also see the main girl do like take it away from Alicia Vikander, but Tomb Raider. I feel like she could really, just based off how she kind of acted in the wild in this one, I think she could really do that kind of movie really well.
I would say that kind of movie. I don't know about the character itself.
No, yeah, agreed. I don't know if she could do like Tomb Raider, but that kind of like Revenant survival.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That kind of movie. Obviously, this was it, and she did great.
Or even something like, I mean, I would love to see her in if there's a John Wick 5. Like, she would kill it. Yeah. So, but that's going to bring this into an end for this review. I would, real quick though, I hope that there's talk of a Prey 2 potentially, because this movie's just really been successful so far. As much as I'd like to see a sequel with Amber Midthunder and maybe get the meeting of the Predator and them, that'd be cool. I'm still pushing for Samurai versus Predator. That would be so cool.
I think it would be cool, especially with the name change and this being like a soft origin story, like kind of a reboot in a sense. I think it'd be cool if each Prey movie was a different era.
Yeah.
Of fight, and I think that way we get Samurai. I think we should re-get modern. I think we should redo all those through a new lens of this type of filming, and I think it would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the only danger with returning to modern though is that you run it being a little too close to the original. I think you have to have it set in more historical time periods because the weaponry is less reliable than, an automatic firearm. Like having to fight with swords or shields or bows and arrows, like that it's much more interesting, and you can showcase a lot more talent in your stunt team. So, but that's going to bring us to an end for this video. Adrian, where can people follow us if they want to find out more?
If you're here, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell. We post every Monday, as well as you get stuff like this, movies that just come out. We like to post exclusive stuff just here on YouTube. But if you want to check us out or listen to us more, you like anything we did here, the Drive Back Podcast on any podcasting application. We post every Monday very consistently on there. I don't think we've missed one ever.
I mean, maybe one like a year or two ago, but
maybe. But yeah, like 120 episodes, no misses. So if you're looking for consistent content, that's where to find us.
Just saying, click that like and subscribe button. This is going to be coming out on Monday with the same day as our newest episode, so make sure you go check that out. We did one of our favorite things to do, which is show and tell. We each select a movie for the other person to watch they haven't seen before. It is awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, if that's what you're doing. We love you so much. We'll see you next time here on The Drive Back. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Drive Back. Make sure to be on the lookout for new episodes every Monday, and make sure to follow us on social media.